July 1934. America's most hunted man buys a movie ticket, and the woman beside him has already sold him out. This clipping waited years for tonight's front page, reader. Hold the front page a moment. I'll run it in order. The ticket cost him a nickel. Look what they built him into. No jail could hold him, no posse could catch him. The papers swore it, and half the country believed it. So here's the question you stayed for. How do you trap a man like that? Not with a gun, with a telephone and a bright skirt. Watch. Meet John Dillinger, spring 1933, Indiana, 30 years old, just out after nearly 9 years behind bars for one clumsy grocery holdup. He learns the trade fast. He vaults the counter like an acrobat, tips his straw boater to the terrified tellers, and grins at them. Charm, they'll call it. I call it nerve. Now, my favorite column, today's rate. October 33, Greencastle. The gang walks out with $75,000, the richest haul of the spree. Today, priced by labor, roughly $2 million, and I mean roughly. In a working man's wage, about $20 a week back then, that's 70 years of honest pay, lifted over one counter in 15 minutes. The papers crowned him a Robin Hood, friend of the poor, scourge of the greedy banks. A lovely story. But the folks in that line were the poor, a teller on 20 a week, a widow's burial fund in the drawer. They never saw a nickel of it back. January 34. They finally corner him in Arizona and cage him at Crown Point, the jail they called escape-proof. And what does he do? He throws an arm around the prosecutor and grins for the newsreels. The law posed for a photograph with its own prisoner. Overnight, the picture made him a star and the prosecutor a laughingstock. March 3rd. The escape that built the legend. Everyone loves the story. He whittled a pistol from a shelf, blacked it with shoe polish, bluffed past the guards. But careful, by other accounts, the gun was real, smuggled in on a $3,000 bribe his lawyer arranged. Either way, the escape-proof jail held him one winter, not two. This next part decides everything. On his way out, he asks for the fastest car in the lot and drives off in Sheriff Lillian Holley's own Ford, a county star on the door. Freeze the frame. Remember that star, reader. Never mind why. Then he points it west, toward the Illinois line. Clipping, spring 34. The jail that couldn't hold him. The whole country watches now. Give the man his due. The nerve was real. He'd walk a bank like he owned the vault. Pity he only ever aimed it at folks poorer than the banks. He isn't a robber anymore. He's a show. The truth in this country always comes out in small print first. That spring, Washington quietly signed a stack of new laws. Rob a bank or cross a state line, and it's no longer the county's problem. It's federal. The front pages ran his grin. The new laws ran on page 14, 6-point type. He least of all read them. So the machine wakes up. A young Bureau of Investigation, a director named Hoover, hungry to make its name, agents finally carrying federal authority across every state line. And here's the beautiful part, reader. The same fame that made Dillinger untouchable is what built the desk now hunting him. You stayed to watch the big man fall. So did they. But the machine started clumsy. April, a Northwoods, Wisconsin lodge. Agents ring the place in the dark, and Dillinger strolls out the back while they're still counting cars. The great G-men, outfoxed by a screen door. The papers howled. He'd made fools of the county. Now he made fools of the nation. Cornered by his own face, he tries to erase it. A backroom surgery, a new nose, acid burned across his fingertips to melt the prints away. A man so famous, he had to scrub off his own hands. But you can rob every bank on the map. You can't rob your own fingerprints. They grew back. Clipping, June 34. Public enemy number 1. The government pins the title on him and a price on his head. $10,000 for the man, $5 for a whisper of where he sleeps. Reward posters in every post office window, the whole machine now aimed at one grinning face. He turned 31 that month. Here the front page goes dark. Picture the most famous man in America with nowhere to sleep, a rented room over a delicatessen, a false name on the register, the blinds down at noon. He can't show his face at a bank, a bar, a barber's chair. The nights run long. For weeks, nothing. The machine watches every road, and not one road matters. He isn't on the roads. He's in that little room, waiting out the heat. But a hunted man still needs someone to trust, and the woman he trusted had a problem of her own, and the Bureau's telephone number. Her name was Anna Sage, an immigrant landlady facing deportation, running a house on the wrong side of the law herself. The Bureau offered her a deal. Give us Dillinger, and there's reward money and a word put in to let you stay. She took it. Loyalty that summer ran cheaper than rent. The plan was simple and cold. She'd take him to the pictures and wear something the agents could pick out of a dark crowd. She chose an orange skirt. Orange. But under the marquee bulbs, it burned red, and the papers christened her the Lady in Red forever. A whole legend born from a trick of the light. July 22nd, a scorching Sunday. Purvis and Callie brief every agent they have and fan them along Lincoln Avenue. The marquee reads, Manhattan Melodrama, Clark Gable, a gangster picture of all things. The heat shimmers off the sidewalk. Inside, a man watches a movie about a man like him. Outside, the machine waits in the dark. The city is talking. Listen close. 10:30. The doors open, the crowd spills into the heat. An orange skirt steps under the marquee light. A hat dips. The signal. The street goes very quiet. And the man no jail could hold, no posse could catch, does not walk home. Hold the front page no longer. You remembered the star on that door. Here's why it mattered. The morning he drove Sheriff Holley's Ford across the Illinois line, a county jailbreak turned federal. That one stolen car is why a federal desk, not a county sheriff, sat waiting in the dark. And the laws from page 14? The front page now, the largest type they own. Today's rate, the last one. The woman in orange was promised the world. She was handed $5,000, about 5 years of that same working man's wage, the one he lifted 70 years of over a single counter, roughly $150,000 today, give or take. And the promise to let her stay? They deported her anyway, 2 years on. So what did the legend buy? By some counts, $300,000 passed through his hands, and it bought a rented room and a borrowed name. No Robin Hood. The tellers he cleaned out never saw a cent of the story the papers sold. He outran every county on the map and lost to the one federal desk his own fame built. In print. Rob the whole map, reader, and you still can't buy back one locked door. You remembered that star. So tell me in the comments, where should the law have shut it? His first bank or the wooden gun morning? The typesetter reads every answer. In the next edition, a factory girl whose invention was signed away for 18 cents. Subscribe. Your copy's already in the type. This edition is put to bed.